Back to another video, not part of the series, but in this video we're going to be going over death. And in Revelation chapter 21 verse 4, and Elohim shall wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, nor mourning, nor crying, and there shall be no more pain, for the former matters have passed away. Right away, to begin with, you have to remember those who are serving God and believe in Him and have faith in Him and their salvation, all these things do not exist anymore in the future, so you have hope in that. Also, death causes a lot of these negative qualities. And if you have experienced some of these things, try to imagine a life without it. Of course, there may be situations where you have experienced some of these things, and then in some situations, it may make you feel good because you may have learned from it or come across something and help you change in some way. And if we go to Romans chapter 8, verse 28, and we know that all matters work together for the good to those who love Elohim, to those who are called according to His purpose. A good example right here may be a near-death situation. Maybe you were living in sin and something happened and you almost died, and it may come out good because, hey, it may have prompted you to get back in the Word and get closer to God and just thank Him for being alive. Remember, not all sinners are having a bad time with their sin. And in chapter 6 of Romans, verse 23, for the wages of sin is death, but the favor or gift of Elohim is everlasting life in Messiah, and we have the name of God Son of God right here in Hebrew translation, our Master. Remember, sin and death are partners, and sin wants to be like God, and His gift is death, and in God, everlasting life. But this is sin's wages, right? It multiplies and it pays you in full. There is more than one type of death. And in chapter 8 of Romans, verse 6, for the mind of the flesh is death, but the mind of the spirit is life and peace. Because the mind of the flesh is enemy towards Elohim, for it does not subject itself to the Torah of Elohim, neither indeed is it able. When was the mind of the flesh put to death, you may ask? You have to go back to Genesis chapter 2, verse 17 to remember that in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die. Once Adam and Hawa sinned, death entered in the mind of the flesh. If you're feeding through a tube, who tells you to digest? How does your body know to breathe? How's your heart beating? Your reflexes, did you just blink? Did she just blush? Is your blood circulating? In Psalm 23 verse 4, remember, death has a shadow. And in Romans chapter 14 verse 8, for both if we live unto the Master, and if we die unto the Master. Therefore, whether we live or die, we are the Master's. Remember, dying refers to the process of ceasing to live, while death is the final state of no longer being alive. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 26, the last enemy to be brought to naught is death. And in verse 56, and the sting of death is the sin, and the power of the sin is the Torah. Was death involved in the